Hey guys, give me a second. I'm trying to fix something here. Excuse me. Thank you, Jen. How's everyone's weekend been? Went by quick. Yeah, didn't last too long. No, I got some new network hardware, and so I gotta fix the lighting, which is all hooked up to my it's like my network controls. Been packing for moving, trying to focus on the market a bit again. Hey, good to see you back. You figure out where you're moving to yet? Oh, this absolute piece of shit. Fuck is that not connecting? Oh, there we go. Ah, let there be light. I did it. Northeast, not too far from New York. I got to visit New York this year and loved it, but can't afford to live there. So day trip distance it is. Just need somewhere LGBTQ friendly. So Connecticut, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Vermont, not Vermont. Don't move to Vermont. It's in the woods. Well, that's cool. Yeah, New York's taxes are too expensive anyway. I wouldn't fucking move here. I won't leave, but I wouldn't move here. Connecticut's weird and not as liberal as it appears on the surface. Massachusetts is far more liberal than it appears on the surface, but it's very, very expensive from a tax perspective and home ownership or rental perspective. Both of those areas are a bit, yeah. Yeah, Connecticut's weird though. You have to be careful where you live in Connecticut. Western Connecticut, not too bad. East of there, just weird hill people. What are you diversifying and not hedging? My Jan 2026 60p are doing sad for NVIDIA? Why? They should be like roughly the same price they were when NVIDIA was at 145 a few weeks ago. They don't really change in price very much unless the vol picks up really hard. Skip New York and go straight to Florida like the rest of them. I would have defined Florida as a LGBTQ friendly place. Which is weird because it definitely used to be. And then that kind of changed. Buying TLT, well, DCAing into it below 95. Interesting. So you think rates are going to come down? I've been promising that for a while. I'd like to see it happen. Is the weekly? No, it's not. Nvidia's forming a very nice head and shoulders on the daily. Yeah, how knows? What do you guys want to talk about? Besides this guy's Nvidia puts being the same price. GameStop. I mean, if you were still a pigeon whale, now I don't know. Do you guys think I don't know who you are on YouTube versus who you are in the Discord? Like, do you think that creates a layer of anonymity? It doesn't. Are people not the same? Most people are. Oh, maybe it is if it helps my favorite company. Wow. You have no idea what my Discord name is. It's the same. I want to talk about how leverage in the market isn't imploding. Well, no, it's not. It has stayed relatively flat over the last week. All right, so hold on. Let me write some of these down. So we got GME, Root. What else? Reddit update. Yeah, this is a good time to ask me about old Pickles picks that you guys didn't take profits on. SMCI. You guys hate money. I swear to God. I'm actually a little flattered that you noticed me, Senpai. I notice everything, I just don't comment on all of it. LRCX. That one's a mite bit concerning. Dole. Bros. Oh, this is giving me a nice little list. Explain how MSTR isn't a pyramid scheme. You mean trading debt for Bitcoin? It is. Palantir. Rivian. Okay. Just generally energy stocks. Rocket Lab. Ugh. All right, fine. Tesla. This is gonna be way more productive. Microsoft. HAL. Upstart. I feel like I missed the bullish entry on Upstart already. Costco. We've got almost, we're like fucking 10% of the way through the S&P. Can I just go look at the S&P 500? And then we're good now? Alright. Fine. Work. You use your meatball. I watched you just talk the devs in circles the other night. Well played. Even I can't aggravate them that well. Yeah. Have you ever thought about being a product manager? For mini chainsaws? Good morning. I'm above that level already, unfortunately. I'm product manager and CEO. There's still room to move up and also back into the same position. Mini pocket pushies. Hmm. Gold and nat gas futures. I'm not talking to you guys about nat gas futures. I don't know the market well enough, and you guys will lose everything you own. And end up having to figure out how to store and distribute a bunch of nat gas. Are you selling options against Mag 7 for income? Um, right now, not a lot, actually. Not a lot in the last like 2 months. I need to know where to store physical delivery of VIX futures in your butt. I'm not even kidding. That's where they're stored. How are you not the re-Q? I don't know what that means. But yes. Alright, let's start off with Tesla. We'll work our way down the list. So 390, there's a ton of interest up at 400. I know. Let me get this load it up and we'll over to the cool stuff. All right. So pop through Gamma Max at 370 on Friday. Looks like some of that positive move in Delta fell off. With the expiration, Gamma dipped a little bit. Let's see. It doesn't look to be much above it. Yeah, it could still go higher. 400, maybe beyond that. Let's look on the shorter dated expirations, see what we have. I would say 400 is going to be a pretty hard resistance to the upside here. Rejection might drag it back down to about 380. No significant increases in Delta or Vega to the upside, so I don't think like a squeeze like before is much of a concern. Um, a break of 400 could lead to a brief foray with like 420, but that would probably be very brief. Maybe even only in like the pre-market or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it would get much range above 400 if it can break 400, which right now does not seem super likely. Um, so yeah, 400 is probably about the top here, which would give us, that room between, gamma max at 370.75 times 1.15. It's like 426. So yeah, I mean, I guess 15% above gamma max would give us that 425 test, but I do feel like it's slightly unlikely. We'd have to see gamma max rise towards spot, and with the expiration, it doesn't look like that's happening. Like gamma max fell on Friday. The prior day it was 72. Friday it was 70. So a pullback, maybe a little bit more likely, but still a little room up to the bigger test at 400, where I assume most of the options are being sold. Keep an eye on vol as a test there. Obviously, realized vol is dropping really fast. IV is still increasing, so options have some room to get priced up a little bit more. Um, but you'll probably see vol dive after a test at 400. Don't forget LMT. Oh, okay, we can look at that too. So Tesla 400 to 425. Should I write it in green so we know it's like slightly bullish? All right, Palantir. Palantir 76. Right, IV's climbing a little bit. Realize I was topped out. I actually have some sold calls open on this. I think at like 70 and 72 for Jan. Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much interest above 80. It doesn't even look like it's going to get to 80 right now. Yeah, that looks a little unlikely. I don't think Vegas squeezing here. There's a little bit of delta. When do these expire? These all expire on the December OPEX. So probably not enough to carry things much higher. Probably look to see if realized vol starts to trim a bit. That might provide a little bit of downside. It's about topped out. Could stay up here, which I guess would be the primary concern, is that it would stay above 70. But it looks like a loss of 72 would be kind of bearish. Um, yeah, Gamma Max is back at 69, not moving up, but still seeing some increases in total delta on the chain. None of that particularly bullish, so that might just be the 70 through 75 strikes going in the money over the last couple days. Gamma's trimming a little bit. Yeah, this one looks like it could go back down. I would say it's kind of neutral though right now. Neutral? Yeah, it's not really neutral. It's a good symbol for neutral. Hmm. I'm gonna do like that. You're still in route? I have a little bit of my short left, but not much. I took a bunch of profits. It fell super fast. A couple of days after it was a Pickles pick, it was already down to like 90. I'd have to look to see what I actually have left, but I think I just have a few spreads left, but not very many. I know I sold like more than half. Let's see. GME doesn't look very good. Let's see. ARB is slightly positive. Liquidity is a little thin. Well, it's dropping off. Looks like there's been more than enough covering, at least on the underlying. Not too much in the ETFs. Let's see. Gamma Max moved away from spot to 370 on Friday. TN fell. Looks like the buying that came in alongside DFV's tweet fell off. Still not much interest above 30. A little bit out at like 32, but again, not very significant. There's no big increases in gamma to the upside. There's really not any significant out of the money delta either. Did we get any in the money put selling? Not really. It still looks like it's stuck between like 25, 30 till earnings. It might break above 31 or $2, but I wouldn't say that the momentum on it looks particularly great. And a fall back to like 25 is probably more likely. It'll be hard for it to get over the bump in gamma just above spot. Like all of those short calls pulled back when DFE tweeted, but then they just sold again immediately. Like there wasn't sufficient risk, and they just piled right back into the shortfall trade, which you can kind of see here. Like IV10. There we go. So like IV spiked into the fifth, and then the sixth that was flat. Probably see it come down a little. I mean, we're not going to see it come down a ton because earnings is what, 2 days? So I would say probably flat-ish into earnings. Probably not a pre-earnings short, but they could, I guess. Earnings is on the 10th for GME, right? Or am I wrong? Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah. So I would say probably flattish into earnings. Maybe there's like a couple dollar range on either side of spot. So like also neutral plus minus $2. Did you know any previous pickles picks in the entry range? Oh, if I come across any, I will. All right, let's take a look at root. I do know I still have some shorts on this, so let's see. Slipped below GM the prior week. It hasn't fully bounced back, and a lower high here would probably be bearish. I would say that I'd cut my shorts if it got back to like 100. Or well, maybe broke above 100. Gamma's still fairly positive, and it did catch some buying on the bounce at 88. There is less upside interest than there was. Did this move overnight at all? 1 hour. No. We're at like 104. It's at 97.68 right now. Yeah, I mean, a failure here, I think, would be a continuation down to like the 80 level. But I guess if it doesn't fail, I would cut on a break of 100 because then it's probably going to retest like 115, and I could just re-enter a short position $15 higher and not carry. Not a lot of delta to the upside though, so short dated, high gamma positioning. Looks like most of these are going to be those 115s. All right, that's SPX. 115s look like they're all for OPEX. So, yeah, if it bounces above 100, then I would probably exit my short, maybe go long up to 115, and then short somewhere up there again, or sell calls up there, wait for it to pull back a little, and then short again. But I don't think this is going to be long lived, if it's even realized. The support below spot, which is slightly under 100, is super shitty. So, I mean, spot's at like 97, and the 95 support's really not very impressive. If 95 is lost again, down to 70. So, I would say, let's see, bullish above 100 out to 115. bearish if rejected. Ah. Let's go take a look at Reddit. That can't be correct. Is that right? Wow, there's not a lot of interest left on this. All of this is short dated. Kind of looks a little bullish up to like 170, 165, maybe 170 by OPEX. And the money support's falling away pretty quickly. Most of the delta's already in the money. That doesn't look super promising. Very, very slim shot at a 170 test. Yeah, IV's coming up a little bit. If it loses 157.50 bearish, bullish above 165. So down to 149. SMCI. Um, SMCI looks like Gamma's still just going straight up to the upside. Starting to get some more interest at 45, 46, 48, 50s. Stacking up a little bit. There's a little bit of delta at 45, a little bit more at 50. Not too much in between. Let's see if any volume's coming in. Mostly at 50. So there's plenty of vol. If vol continues to increase the upside, vol's falling a little. Yeah, so the upside's getting resistive, but it's still bullish right now, like 45 to 50. Not really very bearish below spot, though. Plenty of room to gamma max, which is out at like 82. Delta fell a little bit negative. Gamma's still positive. I want to check something here. One of these. Is there this Friday, next Friday? And Jan. 50s are mostly Jan. I have some 50s and there's some 50, 60, and 70 calls on it for January. But yeah, the upside's starting to fill in. It's not filling in as quickly as I'd like it to. So it may be topping out, consolidating just under 50 bucks. But interest can pick up more to the upside. Obviously, it's still got some range on it. Let's say Yeah, I mean, conservatively, I would say right now it's probably not going to see the upside of 55 over the next like month, but that positioning can change really quickly because it's SMCI, right? So any announcement or anything like that could see its price improve much faster. There is some resistance coming up at the prior high before it dumped. After this gap is filled, which it mostly is, and that's around $50. The next resistance to the upside of that on the technical side is like 63. But I'd imagine they'd have to release a fully audited financial statement that also showed growth for that to happen. And right now, I don't think that the timing on that is determined. So I would say 45 to 50 right now. On a test of 50, I'd probably close out what remains of my options on it. Went up to 48 after hours on Friday. Okay, cool. So it's, I mean, above 45 is helpful. It doesn't look like it's going to get much above 55 without repositioning. I know Bridgewater picked up some SMCI and Palantir last week, which was kind of bullish for both of them. What should one look for an entry on SMCI? Man, you just missed the boat. Like, I don't know. You could have bought it at $20 when we were talking about buying it. Now it's like, I mean, it's like 45 and kind of topping out. I wouldn't get in. I wouldn't get in here. I have options that are up like 300, 400%. I wouldn't want to rebuy those options. Like, I definitely wouldn't pay the current price for them. They got an extension till sometime in Feb. Well, that also means they're not going to go back. They're not going to go back to the price they were trading at prior to all these issues, right? Prior to all these accounting problems. It's very unlikely that they move back to those prices until those earnings come in and the accounting issues are resolved. It's probably going to stay in like the 50, 60 range. I can't see it moving significantly higher than that without some kind of confirmation. However, if you can get a good beat on when those earnings will be released, and then remember they can release them at any time between now and their deadline. So unless you know someone, you're probably not gonna know when those are gonna come out. But that might be, maybe it'll be worth playing once the earnings come out, and if they're good, and if there's no additional accounting issues. Although I suspect they're not going to be as good as their prior earnings, which the rest of the market expects too. That's why they've stopped bidding the price up. So anyway, 40 to 50, 45 to 50 ish. It could go a little bit above 50, but probably not much. LRCX was annoying last week. It got rejected off of the sold call position. I'm still long. I haven't cut my position on it yet. And it held above 75 into Friday's close. So not the worst it could have been. I know it dipped kind of low Friday. I think it hit like 74. Hold on, let me pull it up here. So still some support at 74, which is what we bounced off on Friday. 77 is a bit of resistance. If it gets above that, again, the 79.80 test, very important. If it can clear the 79.80 test, then it can move out to those higher strikes around 84 to 86. I don't think too much has really changed here. There's a little bit of gamma out of the money that can go in the money now. There's a decent number of sold puts out here, so there is a draw to the upside for price action to continue up. Um, Maybe I would trim back the 90 target a little bit until it got some momentum, but not impossible for it to swing out there, especially if we see like a big move in semis or something. Um, Volatility is super wonky, but near term vol is coming down. Longer dated vol is moving up. So there's some demand for out of the money options over like the 30-day window, which is about what I have left. I think I have like a little over 40 days on my long position on it in Jan. So ideally, we continue to see vol on the 30-day when the 30-day continue to move up and that demand grow. And the near dated short vol, which we keep getting rejected off of, fall off. Like the 78, like these sold 78s, these sold 80s out on the December apex. When those fall off, that should open up the upside a bit more. Going over old pickle specs, yeah. Who the fuck wants to know about Dole? I'm not gonna do any options analysis on Dole. There's no point. But it looks like it's falling back. They missed earnings recently, for the first time in a while. Uh, Food pricing has been dropping a little bit, so obviously that's hitting their bottom line. Shipping costs are going up, which also hits their bottom line. Um, I would probably. I don't have a buy order open on it right now, but I'd probably be fairly willing to buy at the previous price I bought at, which was about 11.80. Should it fall that far, the dividends in a couple days, so we'll see what happens after that. I am willing to buy Dole higher than I was, back in 2023, but not much. I would still say 1070 to like 1170 would be the range that I would look to buy it. Sorry, Nicolare, I didn't see that. Welcome back, man. I appreciate it. Oh wait, that's not the right thing. If you need any help getting reconnected, let me know. I'll try to get you hooked up. Where the fuck is that not play? There we go. Took a break, started watching the streaming last week. Nice to be back. Stream's better than ever. Hope you're feeling better. A little bit. Yeah, today's an improvement. LRCX missed my stop loss by 10 cents. I hope it's gonna move next week. Yeah, me too. 2 say if it hits 45, it can reach 70. It can, but it needs more upside positioning. So, not impossible, but it'll need more positioning to come in. And it doesn't look like people are betting too heavily on that. And there's also, just some fundamental shit to deal with the fact that they're not probably going to release their earnings for a little while now. When they're under the gun, there was a chance that they release their earnings in the near term. Now they have till Feb, so it could be any. I mean, they might release them next week, in which case, sure, it could go back up to 70 or 100, right? But they might not release them until Feb, in which case my options would be expired. I still wouldn't play the upside of it. It's super risky. I mean, there was a play from $20 to $50, which was fucking awesome. Up here, that's not the same play anymore. So, I mean, if you didn't get in when it was $20, why the fuck would you get in now? My vapes are all the same flavor. Mint. Because crime pays. I mean, I don't see the positioning that would give me confidence to double or triple down on it at these prices. I got a little bit more last week on out of the money stuff, and I'll probably fucking close that Monday with the after hours move. And if my 50 calls ever go in the money, I'm closing them immediately. I don't really care about the potential to the upside at this point. The stock's gone up like 100% since I bought in. I mean, you can do what you want with it, but I would caution against it. All right, bros. Who the fuck asked about bros? 3 carats? Isn't it just like shitty Starbucks? They had a good earnings. There's not much room to the upside post earnings. Realized vol is super high. Ivy is crushing out a bit, so calls are being sold. At least short-dated calls are being sold at spot. It doesn't look like it's going to go much higher than 55 right now. Although it did hold a pretty steady trend of growth up until earnings. Maybe they weren't as great as people expected them to be. Well, I guess following earnings. It's held against GM. I don't know. It looks like upside interest is increasing at about the same rate that the price is, which isn't very quick. But I would say that more than likely it gets a pullback to like 50 or 46 or 43 before moving substantially higher. I mean, they don't. Their next earnings is out in Feb, so there's plenty of time for volatility to come down a little bit on the short dated or the slightly longer, like the IV30 to come down. Spicy Lentil, welcome to Zillionaire. Thank you so much. Hit me up on the Discord. I'll get you added to the country club after the stream. Nice, dude. Bros is just finishing up building their buildings. Also partner up with Cinnabon and Aunt Annie's Pretzels. Oh, short it. Those are like two of the worst fucking chains in the world. Just actual like mall garbage. How deeply are they partnering with them? Like they're just gonna hawk their crap, or remember everyone's on Ozempic now, and the sugar's gonna make them sick. All right, what's next? Rivian. Why? Because Tesla's up. You think Rivian's worth money? It's not. Shocker. Uh, Gamma Max is moving up a little bit, slightly more delta on the chain. There's options interest out to like $15. A little bit building out to 20, but not a ton. Volatility's fairly steady. I guess it's got like $3 to so it's like plus minus like $3 roughly. Wow. Yeah. Plus minus $3. There's not a lot of range on it. Rocket Lab. Oh, I don't have any data on Rocket Lab. I guess we can look at the technicals. Looks like I found a top around 28, pulling back a little bit. Lower high would be bearish. I don't know how supportive 16 is, but 10 or, back to 0 because it's fucking Rocket Lab. Looks like the directors are selling, so that can't be a positive. I'm pretty sure they've never made any money. Their shit margins are, now decreasing even more. Negative. They peaked at negative 39%. I have no idea why this stock's worth money, but it's probably not going to stay that way. Did you touch on Vega puts and why they're so expensive on SPY? Are they? $400 plus or March 50/50. Well, the 50/50 is not really a. I mean, it's got some Vega, but it's more delta exposed than anything else. I feel like there's quite a bit of delta on the March 50/50. You're really not like you've got high Vega, but that's just because it's closer to the money. Would you go for 30? I could like pull up for SPY. I don't know. 21, 400. So Vegas 0.6. You could probably go lower than that. Actually, there's a lot of Vega going down that far. 530-ish isn't too bad. 0.5 Vega per contract. That's about 288. I've been getting like roughly like 58 or 5.8 Vega on SPX. I'm a little further out though. I've been getting June's. Not that this isn't sufficient. It probably is. But your IV sensitivity is probably pretty good. Like, what, 10% move in IV puts you at spot, a 218% gain. $5% increase in IV covers you out to like end of December. But then you would need downside. But if you get both, I mean, say you get a 3% correction, 5% move in vol, sometime between now and Jan, you get, up to 100% returns. Let's say 70 to 120, somewhere in there on the outer edge of that. Not enough theta for much beyond that, though. I probably wouldn't hold them past like middle of January, because then you start to need like a bigger correction. Then you're gonna need like 5%, and then like a 10% move in IV. That would be betting on a much larger correction. But I mean, you make a lot of money if that were the case. When would I roll those? I mean, it looks like the value starts to fall off around end of December. That's why I went with June on SPX, because it holds out through Feb, like through Feb OPEX, which is kind of what I was targeting for like the next move up in vol, or next significant move up in vol. Remember, volatility on them is going to be a bit different than like vol at spot or VIX, because they're going to be, more than 90 days to expiry. All right, back to what I was looking at. Microsoft. So I'm not in this anymore, but there's still a bit of room to the upside. It's gonna be slow to be realized, and it's already at gamma max, which usually holds up pretty well for Microsoft. Like there've been a couple times where it's bounced above it a little bit, but not for long. Looks like gamma and delta trimmed a bit on Friday, and pretty hard resistance at 450. A little bit of support at 40. Could end up chopping between 40 and 50, but I don't know if I would target 60 yet. So this kind of looks like chop. Bearish under 40. I'll take a look at ACHR after. Let me look at HAL. Last time I checked out HAL, it just rejected off of the resistance I put at 32.45. Yeah. HAL could probably fall back to like 27.80 or so, depending on. I mean, some of that depends on oil pricing, and expectations for. Yeah, looks like support at 28-ish, 28, 27. There's a bit of upside interest above 30, but not a ton. Looks like people are selling a lot of puts down here between like 30 and 27. So might not be a bad range to get in. Vol's coming up a little bit, says realized vol, so maybe finding some support. And yeah, there's room out to about like 34 if it pushes to the upside. It's definitely very, very, very oversold. So I'd want to see some delta pick up on the chain, but it doesn't look bad. Probably a decent entry price. What's the yield on cost right now? 2.36%. Not too bad. PE's at 10, which is ridiculously low. I know their last earnings, their margins fell a little bit, but they were still net positive. So a lot of Hal's pricing will have to do with how international relations shake out with Trump in office. And there's definitely some fear there that he will be successful in moderating the global oil markets to the point where we do less drilling domestically. However, Hal's pretty good at repositioning themselves to capture profits in foreign oil markets. They have been in the past. Maybe not as good as Schlumberger in the same arena, but sufficient. They were performing just fine prior to the Russian-Ukraine conflict. They've never had a problem selling shit to people in countries that don't like us. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, yeah. So decent range, buy-in range. How's still like a 3, 4 year more hold probably before I would consider selling it. Buy-in range looks like 27 to 30 sold puts. Upstart, yeah, as I mentioned, I feel like I missed this run. I noted that it looked bullish, but I didn't get in on it, and it moved up from like 67 to 77 over the last week. Still got a little bit of room out to Gamma Max. Looks like some positioning out to 80. Shorter dated, that seems to be fairly well supported. There's a bit of out of the money delta too. Yeah, I would say that Upstart still has probably a few more dollars of range. Maybe 80 or maybe Gamma Max around like 85-ish. Um, IV 30 still falling off, and so is IV 10. So whatever price it gets to, it'll probably reverse pretty quickly. Doesn't look like there's a lot of doesn't look like there's a lot of bullish interest coming in, and they're continuing to sell vol even on the upside move, which is usually not a great sign, but also something they just do with Upstart anyway. Like vol is generally continuously sold on Upstart, even if it's moving up, um, because the mean reversions are really really sharp. But I would say upside target 80, 82, and then if it could push above that, maybe 85, 86. Seems moderately bullish for now and at least supported into the end of this week, but possibly not into OPEX. So Upstart looks like plus somewhere between like $3 to $12. Put a dollar sign there. Costco, I want to short really, really badly, but I don't know if it's ready yet. Volatility is starting to trim back a little bit on the 30 and on the 10. So it's possible that we saw a peak on this last week. Looks like some bot puts came in at 95, maybe a spread. Still a little bit of support at 90, 85, and 80 to the downside. However, looks like most of those options fall off around OPEX, so maybe maybe sometime this week, next week, I'll start looking for a short position there, targeting just sub 1,000. I guess it could fall back to like 950 or so reasonably. Looks like gamma neutral's moving towards spot. Delta is still pretty flat, but falling off. Gamma's falling off a little faster. So definitely some vol shorting coming in. Um, yeah, it looks like it could hold this range till about OPEX. Then post OPEX doesn't look so hot. So maybe revisit it in like a week or so. Not in a big rush to short it right now. The downside's probably a little bit supportive. But I do want to short it. It's just gotta wait for a good entry. So, it's like stagnant. Yeah. Hold on. So it was like 980 to 1,000. Too early to short. And LMT. So LMT fell back under DN. Might get some support here. Gamma ticked up on Friday. Might not. I don't know. I have free calls on it for January. I don't really care if it doesn't move up, but if it does, cool. There's a lot of support here. Shitloads of sold puts between 485, 515. If it moves above 520, it's got a pretty straight shot at 540, 550, and then that out of the money interest between 550 and like 600 is still there on the chain. That hasn't fallen off. Some of that's quite long dated as well. I think some of this like 540 interest is yeah, Jan, March, and June. um 550. Yeah, it looks like the short calls are falling off fairly soon, and then, Jan, March, June, even out to like 2026 at the 550 strike. The 600 strike looks like it's mostly around January. They're selling puts here for March. So definitely some confidence from bulls, and this like 500 is a support with room to the upside. If there's any escalation or Trump decides to back Ukraine, LMT will probably turn around on news before it would necessarily turn around on positioning. I'm gonna upside left on Amazon and Hood. I also really want to short United. Amazon's kind of blown out. I can take a quick look, but I gotta jump over to the other chat. That's about all I had time for. Amazon looks like it's pretty close to tapped out. So does Hood. Yeah, maybe just netting off profits, chop. They don't look like neither one looks like they're going much higher. I think the Syria news will have any real impact to LMT. It depends. Trump backing Ukraine. Ha 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 ha. I mean, the MAGA contingent in Congress doesn't want to back Ukraine, but there's real value in it. Also, the rest of the Republican Party may not be so fucking stupid, and they will also be incentivized to back Ukraine. It's a good investment with very little cost to the U.S. I know United Healthcare is going to trade this week. Don't care. Not going anywhere near it. All right. Let me see what the boys are up to. What's up,
That's
nerds?
kind of what I'm thinking. What's up?
We're just nerding out to some guy that works for the Bureau of Labor Services called John S. Dixon, trying to dox him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was that successful? Is he doxxed?
Moderately,
Okay.
moderately.
Yeah.
The problem is there's a famous I think it's Episcopalian organist who lives in Virginia Beach, who is muddying the search results. I did find his LinkedIn account, but it's bereft of information.
You should just hire a need to.
He stopped publishing things on the BLS website in 2018, so I just kind of want to know if he's okay.
Oh, maybe they took him out.
I don't know.
Did he say something bad about inflation?
No, his whole thing was trying to root out sources of bias in the employment surveys.
His pursuit is 19 years long in this topic.
Yeah, 2001, or what was it? 2001 to 2018, so 17 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So he probably knows more about selection bias than anybody on the planet when it comes to unemployment data.
Huh.
We should have him on.
Yeah, bring him on the
Yeah.
show. Let him spew his crazy all over us.
He's got charts.
I fucking love
I mean,
charts.
he's honestly probably really informative and could give us a better idea of the shortcomings and strengths of the employment data surveys.
I can tell you one shortcoming that's just like right on the tip of my tongue, and that's that we're looking at unrevised employment data that was already incorrect and revised previously, but is also still incorrect because it's not being revised live.
Yeah, do you wanna just jump right in and give like a little rundown of the statistics behind the different measures of employment and
Uh,
why we
No,
care about it right now?
God no. Do
Let's
you?
do it.
Oh,
Great. Let's
fantastic.
go. Let's get started.
Thank you for your interest. Please press 1 to get started.
How do I hang
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. So I got a chart for you here that kind of motivate our discussion that nobody wants to have, but it's happening, so just accept it.
All right.
There's a red and a blue line on it. It's a Fred chart, super high quality.
Yep. It is actually 1080p. Boom.
Uh,
There it
so there's
is.
two things here. One is the employment level, and the other is all employees total non-farm.
It
Now,
looks
these come from two completely separate methods of data collection. One is the blue one is employment level. That is household surveys. So they actually have people go and do in-person surveys with these people. I believe they are somewhat of a longevity survey. The collection period lasts like 2 months. It's done every month. And I think they try to track people because I saw some data from John S. Dixon in one of his slide decks that he has floating around on the web that shows that they track one reason for why people stop taking or don't take the survey is that they don't want to do it anymore. So I think there's some longevity to it, which kind of makes sense to try to just track differences. If there's selection bias, then tracking differences can kind of help with that. But anyway, they have about 60,000 households that they survey. So you think there's something like 150 to 160 million households in the US, and so they're surveying about 60,000 of them, which is now you see why I'm going into, well, what's the selection bias, uncertainty and measurement there, because you got to pick the right 60,000 households if you don't want to
Can
take
I
the data.
ask a question preemptively? How much do these survey people enjoy going into impoverished neighborhoods?
I have a a
Like,
potential issue that let me look up.
what's the median income for people surveyed?
They don't show that,
Oh,
but I do want to go to, and he puts this in a lot of his slide decks. He's been putting it in there for years. They have this thing called the contact history instrument, the CHI data,
okay.
which basically is the surveyor has a list of reasons why people either didn't want to talk to them or expressed reluctance or concern. So they
Uh-huh.
fill this out for everyone, regardless of whether they actually do the survey or not. Because some people will do it, but they still might have privacy concerns or scheduling difficulties that make it difficult to get it done. But some of these things are hangs up or slams door, hostile or threatening.
Okay.
uh, So there are and let's see, the hostile or threatening is only a few percent.
Okay.
Most people are just busy or not interested or don't have time or don't give a shit.
So they just keep doing the survey till they hit 60,000 people, or is their end value actually lower due to these hostile witnesses?
That's another thing we'll talk about here in a minute once I'm done
Okay.
explaining what this data is.
I'm just making
Uh,
sure I'm asking the right questions.
you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Well, anyway, so 60,000 households is the sample size, and that is the employment level. Okay. Now you can see that I've charted here the change in employment level year over year, in thousands of people. Okay. And obviously, this is kind of a big deal because it just went negative this month. Based on this survey, there are fewer people employed today than there were a year ago,
Yep.
which would be pretty bad if it's true. Question is it true? I don't know. Okay,
Mm.
so the next one is all employees total non-farm, which is essentially an attempt to measure the same thing, but instead of surveying households, they survey employers. So they survey businesses.
All right.
This one is admittedly a larger survey, which might be why everyone leans more on it. But we'll get into some caveats here in a minute. So this one has a sample size of 651,000 establishments. It's roughly the same intensity and collection period and all of that. And so that one shows that, hey, we're getting back to mean activity. The interesting thing about this, when you ask which one is right, sure, you may be, you may want to skew towards the employment survey of employers because it's a larger sample size.
Probably less hostile surveys as well.
Probably less hostile surveys as well. But what's really interesting is the deviation between the two. And the deviation between the two, even on a percent basis or on a thousands of people basis, is one of the largest, if not the largest it's ever been. It's actually larger than or as large as the uncertainty during COVID. Right? So the deviation between these two historically is huge.
It's actually the biggest I think I see besides COVID.
Is there anywhere a measure of how many of these employers receive government subsidies based on the number of people they employ?
No, or at least I haven't found something on that yet. I mean, I could dig more into it. I kind of went off on a weird tangent. Dort can confirm. I spent a little bit too much time looking up John S. Dixon.
I think he spent around 25 minutes looking this guy up.
That sounds about right.
He's diligent.
Anyway,
I'll give him
okay.
that.
So now let's get into the other. So maybe one of the reasons why this data is getting less reliable, right? So anyway, here's the picture we have just from these two data points. Either we're in a recession or the economy's fine.
Economic boon.
So the data is essentially telling us nothing.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
which is problematic to not know anything. But they like to pretend they know something, but basically they know nothing. But the caveat is one of the reasons why this might be so large and getting larger is the response rate to these surveys. So the response rate for the household survey has dropped over the last 10 years from 90% down to 70%. So, it used to be 54,000 households, and now it's 42,000 households
Mhm.
that are actually responding. So then there's this question of, well, who are the people that are becoming more likely not to respond over time, right? I don't have an answer to that question. I suspect that John S. Dixon might, but I need to find him. Um, but anyway, so that's dropping. And then if you look at this one's even more curious because it's businesses. This is a voluntary survey, but the survey of employers has dropped from I'm looking at the wrong one. Has dropped from 64% 10 years ago down to 43% today.
Ooh.
And it was flat until we got to COVID. And then after COVID, it just started dropping.
Hmm.
And what's really interesting is that John S. Dixon noted, I'm going to say John S. Dixon many times today. I hope people are ready for it. What's really interesting is that, unfortunately, John S. Dixon has not published anything since 2019. So I don't know what his current thoughts are on
Dead.
COVID at all.
Dead to COVID.
Maybe he could have
Probably.
died because of COVID. Who
Yeah.
knows? I hope not. I actually would like to track him down. I'm not. I'm only partially joking. But anyway, one of the things John S. Dixon noted in the past was that the only thing that was really kind of robust to measures of selection bias were really large corporations were tended to be um, less likely to respond to the surveys in the past.
Hmm.
But but from at least from 2014 to 2019, the response rate was roughly flat, right? I mean, it's like about 60% of surveyed businesses responded. And then once COVID hit, this started collapsing and now has sort of settled down around 43%. Who's doing really well during that time? Mega caps, right? Because they're able to pass on their prices because they have monopolies. And who's doing really badly? Small businesses. So who might be less likely to respond to these surveys because they're doing really badly? I don't know. My heart, my bias is telling me that there could be a chance that this big drop is due primarily to small businesses because they've been the most impacted by COVID, right? They had the biggest change. Right? All these mega caps, they just raise the prices, they pass all the costs on, their margins are fine. The biggest change financially, I think, went to small businesses. So you'd expect the biggest change in the survey responses to be small businesses. That's obviously a big assumption.
I found a good cause for your effect.
What's that?
The employee retention credit. The ERC was a refundable tax credit against certain employment taxes designed to encourage businesses to keep employees on their payrolls. Eligibility criteria included experiencing a significant decline in gross receipts or full or partial suspension of operations due to government orders related to COVID 19. The credit amount varied by year. 2020, 50% of qualified wages paid between March 13th and December 31st, up to a maximum credit of $5,000 per employee. 2021 increased to 70% of qualified wages per quarter with a maximum credit of $7,000 per employee.
What is this?
It's called the employee retention credit. There was also a paid sick and family leave credits, and deferral of employment tax deposits The CARES Act allowed employers to defer the deposit and payment of employers' share of Social Security taxes. This deferral applied to deposits and payments required between March 27, 2020 and December 31st, 2020, with deferred amounts due in two installments, half by December 31st, 2021, the remainder by December 31st, 2022.
Okay, so give me what your theory is here.
Employers are over reporting or not reporting employees in an effort to maintain their COVID tax breaks.
Huh, yeah, I mean, maybe.
Are you saying all of these companies committed fraud? Well, like light fraud, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a voluntary survey, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you
I
don't
mean,
have to.
I'm saying that
You're
they're
not
not
committing
answering the
fraud.
survey because they don't want to disclose information preemptively to the IRS. I'm not saying that they're committing fraud with the
Yeah,
IRS. I'm saying that they're like scared to answer the surveys because they don't want to disclose that information ahead of time.
yeah.
Government
So
agency comes knocking at your small business and you've gotten all these tax breaks and they're like, "Hey, how many people are you employing?" You're like, ask my CPA."
yeah, just give them the runaround until they just give up.
I have a question. Oh, this is from Carl. Is water wet? Last I checked.
It depends.
I don't know, Carl. You're gonna have to ask my CPA.
Yeah.
It depends on wet in reference to what. What is the water touching?
Oh, God damn
Oil.
it.
Then no.
Nice. What about blood?
Yes.
Skin?
And kind of, yeah.
Is wet a sense?
No, it's
Wet is
do you really want to know?
I mean, yeah, tell me.
Can we finish talking
Oh,
about
I think I solved your Mark Zuckerberg's fat cake problem, but I think I'm wrong. I got 44.55, but I think there's something with like sig figs that I'm not doing and I don't understand.
All right, well, you show me your work later.
Okay.
You're gonna score it out of 15 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I want to get
Anyway,
graded.
so yeah, so what'll happen is if it is these small businesses that are struggling that aren't responding to these surveys, then what'll happen is they will over extrapolate the surveys that do come back that are rosier, right? And so that's where I was getting into this selection bias. If the people who are struggling are now becoming more likely to not answer the survey than in the past, and they're using the same weights that they're using before, then what will happen is they will overestimate the employment level.
Which they had to revise. What was that in March? They
I mean,
revised all the
yeah,
employment
they
back one
revised it.
year and it was
The
way lower than
revision,
expected.
the revisions come in because people just corporations are just they take a while to answer the surveys. So they have these like preliminary results of the people who answer it, and then as more come in over time, they adjust it. But the issue is that they're still only, measuring a fraction of all of the actual employers. So they have to estimate, they have to extrapolate and estimate what the unemployment rate is or the employment rate is for everybody else based on the survey. Um, so the survey can still be a good relative indicator of health as long as the sampling is the same over time, right? So when you have these huge changes, like right now, you can't even trust the change in the data set anymore because there's a bias in it somewhere that's not being accounted for. Um, so then you go back to the employer or the employment survey for the households, and you think about, well, who's more likely to answer these surveys? um and the people who are more likely to answer the surveys are people that have a lot of time on their hands, which are people who tend to be unemployed, right? um So that could be a bias in the other direction, right? So this could be overcounting the unemployed. The real answer might be somewhere in between, or one or the other. We really don't know. But I think it's just kind of interesting that there's one indicator that says, hey, we're in a recession, which might be overestimating unemployment, and another indicator that says we're fine, which might be underestimating unemployment. So I guess the real answer might be somewhere in between.
Stagflation.
Yeah, well, something that looks like that. I mean, they're still both going down.
True.
What's interesting is that they've both tended to have leveled off since March of 23. Let's see, March of 23 there, and then yeah, about the same. March 23, beginning of 2023. Both of these things leveled off. So whatever change occurred started in when COVID started and ended around the 23rd, and so now we've reached some new response rate steady state.
Hmm.
So
So
from
the
2023 to
tax
now,
the tax breaks I just described exactly within that window
Yeah.
through the yeah.
It's a correlation, Girk,
All right.
not a causation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be both.
well, yeah,
You could be both.
well, it's just a correlation,
Yeah.
maybe a causation.
It's a strong correlation.
It is strong. There are lots of very strange, strong correlations, though.
True.
There's a fun website. It's some guy, Tyler Vigen.com. It's called Spurious Correlations.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of fun ones. So he has one, the distance between Jupiter and the sun over from 2010 to 2022 correlates very closely to the number of secretaries in Alaska.
Damn.
Popularity of the first name Jamila correlates with the air quality in Phoenix over the last 40 years.
That's impressive. Do all Jamillas live in Phoenix?
Um, you gotta link me this, Jay Fresh. This is hilarious.
Liquefied petroleum gas used in Bahrain correlates with Mizuho Financial Group's stock price.
Well, that actually can make sense. I don't know if that's a bad correlation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
American cheese consumption correlates with Google's annual global revenue.
That makes sense.
Whoa.
I always use Google after I eat cheese.
Air pollution in San Diego correlates with popularity of the first name Kirk.
All right.
These actually kind of make sense. I don't know what his I thought his whole point was, because he's been adding a bunch. I thought his whole point was to show that correlations might not make sense, but petroleum consumption in Azerbaijan correlates with the number of farm equipment mechanics in Alabama.
Hmm. Once.
Here we go. Here's a great one. Master's degrees awarded in education correlates with Google searches for Gangnam Style. GMO use in cotton in the state of Texas correlates with pirate attacks globally.
No, total number of successful Mount Everest climbs correlates with hot dogs consumed by Nathan's hot dog eating competition champion.
Those are just extreme events.
Oh my gosh.
Per capita consumption of margarine correlates with the divorce rate in Maine.
That also doesn't seem that far-fetched.
Global rice
I would
consumption.
divorce somebody if they ate margarine.
Global rice consumption correlates with Google searches for "I have a headache."
It's the arsenic in the white rice. We're talking about hot dogs? About fucking time. Alright, back to the subject at hand. And our
Last
employment
one.
data is incorrect. Alright.
Last one. Popularity of the slaps roof of car meme correlates with divorce rates in the United Kingdom.
Again, not really that far-fetched.
Anyway, correlation, maybe causation.
Yeah.
Here's so then you go and look for other evidence of data, right? So obviously the discrepancies probably coming from small businesses because those are the ones who were the most affected by COVID, so their response rates would change.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and look at another measure of small business health, which is the Federal Reserve Z tables.
Yep.
And if you look at those and you look at equity in private businesses held by households, which are just the value of small business, and you have to keep in mind the equity of a small business is basically just the amount of cash that you have in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone down over the last 2 years by $1.1 trillion. And the only other time that has really gone negative at all is in 2008, 2009.
So small business owners struggling and drawing down the cash in the business.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, small business hasn't looked good for the last couple years.
Yeah. So you have this tale of, first of all, COVID plus all of these other things, right? I think COVID has basically made all of our measurements kaput. I mean, we've talked about this before in the past, but all of these measurements rely on the fact that changes are small over time, right? So they can
Yeah.
kind of slow moving trends. So when you have this big shock to the system where everything kind of changes in these surveys and things, then you can't really trust them anymore. So I don't know. Personally, I think that just the evidence that I've described from these three different data sets, probably it's likely that we're in a recession. It might not be a huge one, but it's a recession, mostly propagated by small businesses.
Wind down.
Never.
Oh. But I thought small businesses were the backbone of the U.S. economy. How are we going to float our structural debt problem if we're not getting sufficient tax receipts from small businesses? Has anyone considered that this might be an issue?
Print, baby, print. Fucking print it. Let's go.
Actually, I hadn't thought about this before, but I have an answer to that question. The people who own the stocks are also a pretty big subsection of people who own small businesses.
Yeah. So they've taken the money out of their businesses and just put it into bigger businesses.
Or they're off. Yeah, I mean, I guess essentially they're offsetting their losses from their own small businesses with paper gains from their investments.
That's frightening.
So literally the economy will continue to, so literally the stock market being up is holding the economy up. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, but yeah, that only makes sense though, right? Access to capital as a publicly traded business is directly tied to your stock price performance.
Oh yeah, of course. Were you being serious?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's
No,
you're that's why you're right.
look at MSTR. Why do you think
I
people
mean,
keep
look at.
giving him billions of dollars to buy more Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, think of. I mean, a
Money.
more intimate example is look at GameStop pre-squeeze, right? They got squeezed into. I mean, they were also had declining revenues and stuff, but their ability to float, their deficits was severely handicapped by the constant and endless decline of their stock price.
Yeah, true. I guess for those that need to sell stock, but all the corporations are buying their stock back.
The ones with cash. The rest of
Yeah,
them are issuing stock. Different growth phases.
yeah, but the ones with cash are the ones that are propping up the market, right? I mean, seven stocks make up 30 to 35% of the market.
It's true.
And they were the ones going up this last week while all the other stocks were going down, which has never happened before for five
Yeah,
days.
did you see the I know you hate technical signals, but you might like this one. Take a
Feeling a
look.
little risky today. John S. Dixon got me all hot and bothered, so I'll take some TA.
All right, cool. I'm gonna fucking show you some then. Look at S5TW on TradingView. This is the S&P 500 stocks above their 20-day moving average.
S5TW. Switch to D. All right. Can we get an overlay of like recessions on this thing?
I mean, you can just look for where it's down for a long time.
um, COVID. There's COVID. Okay, it's not. Doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, so 46% of the S&P is above its 20-day moving average this month so far. But the index is at all-time highs.
Yeah.
So the index is somehow simultaneously oversold and at all-time highs.
Well, yeah. I mean, this whole entire week, RSP did nothing but go down,
Yeah.
and the mean seven did nothing but go up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for 5 days in a row, we had declining. We had more declines than advances at an all-time high. Um, that's literally never happened before in the market.
Yeah.
The only other times that came close were before the crash in 2009 and 1929. I don't
Yep.
know.
So
Well,
Again,
very,
correlation,
very,
causation.
yeah, very specifically, the 1929 event was interesting as far as advanced decline goes because you didn't really have a lot of other accurate measurements of what stocks were going up and down from back then. But the advanced decline signal's been around forever. And yeah, someone's selling everything. And concentration in the Mag 7 staying, yeah, well, it's a little higher, but roughly the same as where it's been.
I mean, doesn't this all point to what I was talking about in, I think it was late 2023, how the current moves towards this top heavy market are, if you look at it, it's an extremely cynical pricing in of virtually a monopolistic dystopia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these monopolies aren't like that good. These
I
aren't
know,
like
right? That
these
makes
aren't
sense.
these aren't the Japanese megacorps we were promised.
I mean, I think this is
This is Nvidia, Jensen Huang in a leather jacket.
Signing teddies.
but this
Yeah.
comes back to like what investing has become, where it's just become like this fun little game where you get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you put a portfolio together, and you think that it's diversified, so it's good. And it's just everybody's just picking up things that are popular, right? So what's popular? I don't think they're necessarily pricing in thinking, I think in the future there's going to be this mega cap dystopia. They're just thinking like, oh, people like Apple, so I'm gonna put a little bit of Apple in my portfolio because that's what smart
Well,
people do.
I'm not talking about the composition of men necessarily. Well, I guess I am, but I'm not talking about Joe Blow who's going and buying, shares of VU every month, and because he has no fucking clue that he's, 30% allocated into 7 companies. He has no fucking clue, right? But the way that these prices are moving, right? Where so normal people do not determine the price of an asset, right? Unless it's basically a home, right? Or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Then they can determine the price of an asset. But for something like a stock, you know who determines the price of the asset?
Kenneth Cordell
That's
Griffin.
right. Kenneth Cordell Griffin and Leopold Reginald Fink the 10th. I don't know what his fucking middle name is. Larry Fink and Kenny Griffin and all those guys. Market makers everywhere, JP Morgan, those guys, they have crazy discounted cash flow models that all seem to be roughly in agreement, and that's where the bid ask comes from. So like it's but those people in those discounted cash flow models and all those things, if we assume they're unbiased, are all pointing towards this monopolistic dystopia.
Yeah, maybe I don't disagree with that on some level, but I think the thing that you're missing is that even the informed investors aren't making this decision really in aggregate relative. I don't think they're really looking at how crowded is this trade. I mean, some people are on the margin, sure. But I think they're kind of doing something similar, which is, AI is a theme. So you buy these companies. These companies are going up. You can't not own them while they're going up, right? So, I mean, I think yes, at least they're looking more at potential returns, and they don't want to miss out. But yeah. Anyway, I have a question for you. You know, how Bill Ackman famously said on X, he exposed his great brilliance by saying he thinks that the universe gives you your name based on what you're supposed to do. And he says he thinks that Ackman is referencing that the universe wants him to be an activist man. Really big brain stuff. What is
Yeah,
a fink? What's a fink? He
Uh,
mentioned Larry Fink, the 10th. What is a
fucking
fink?
fucking dink.
yeah, 1 letter away from dink, 2 letters away from fuck.
Yeah, rat fink.
Rat Fink. Love it.
I don't
Uh,
know. Just something I was thinking about when you mentioned Fink. I was like, what is a Fink?
You guys ever remember what I said about price stagnating on low volume at highs?
I don't.
Mm,
You're gonna say something bearish, aren't you?
no, I was just gonna say that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, volume's low. I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, as the stocks inflate relative to the amount of money, there's just everybody has less money to spend on things, so the volume has to drop relative to the amount of money that exists. So it's just another indicator that we're running out of money to pump into stocks.
Who has dollars anymore?
I mean, people don't have many. They're trying to get rid of them as fast as possible.
Trying to turn them into things that are far more volatile.
I love how JPOW basically just said, I don't know, Bitcoin's for crazy people like gold nuts.
Yeah, which I mean it is.
Yeah.
Bitcoin thing's funny. Oh, JFresh, we got to talk about the great accomplishment of humanity that happened while everyone was freaking out about Bitcoin 100K.
We do. I posted it last night, real late.
What was it?
We finally hit $1 trillion in open options contracts on the equity market.
Oh, fuck yeah.
We did it. I had to wait because our data provider screwed up SPY and like overcounted
What
OI.
percentage of our GDP is that?
Uh, 4.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, it's like 5.2 trillion in Delta, which is
your
about,
daddy and what does he do?
which is like 12% of the S&P 500. Is
That's
just
so crazy.
Delta.
That's awesome.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
Did you see fucking cum croissant out there telling everybody that the tail wags the dog? The thing we've been saying for 3 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. I'm glad he finally caught on. Took him a while.
I mean, I think he's been saying that for a while, hasn't he? I don't know. I honestly, I don't really follow him.
Well,
I
because
don't know if I
he
muted him or
blocked you.
something.
No, he blocked you. He accused you of. He
He
accused you
didn't.
of.
No, that's the thing. He never blocked me. He blocked everybody who responded to my post, but he didn't block me.
That's even
Because
better.
he knew that your data was too good to not.
He couldn't
Follow.
block me because he needed to know what I was saying.
Oh, I see. Smart.
Yeah.
He wants to, take your ideas and synthesize them into his own.
We are gonna make our own. We're gonna make our own Buffett rule for options. We just haven't worked out the criteria yet.
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're I don't know. We haven't really told you about this, but we're kind of noodling around with implementing Fred shit into our back end so that we can do these macro.
I was already gonna
Fred's-
do that.
Fred's inside my back end right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! You've let the government in.
Only a little bit. All right.
It's
It's just the tip.
It's never just the tip with the government. They tell you it's just the tip.
Certainly feels more like a mag light. No, we're just fucking around with Fred API and getting it sort of to come up with cool stuff, like cool ways to compare, like because the options market is the future valuation.
which would be total delta on the market divided by M2 or in GDP.
So just a bunch of information that has no alpha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
down.
what you could also do is you could look at other fun stuff that I won't talk about because it might generate alpha. But basically, the options market is the future valuation of companies,
Yeah.
right? So it's basically
Well,
a record of anticipation. For
It's
the economy.
it's insurance against the future valuation of companies.
Right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to price in,
Isn't that a little
right?
antiquated of a description of what options are?
Okay, yeah, sure. Calls go to the moon, right? But like, I mean, for people who buy and sell large quantities of options, for the most part, they're doing it with some sort of forward valuation metric in mind for longer dated
I
options.
don't disagree with that. I was disagreeing with what Girk said about in the hedging of it. I think the tail is wagging the dog, as they say.
Oh yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Now that everybody's confused as to what we're sarcastic about, I'm gonna pivot a little bit here because it's a little timely, and I'm gonna speak directly to Bob, aka Me Fear, because he's been posting recently a lot. He's been posting the skew, and I know you like the skew too. Pickle. It's at what, all-time highs, right?
Of course.
So what does it mean?
It means that there's not a lot of puts being bought. Well, CBOE's definition of bought puts is not being satisfied.
Well, actually, so what the skew is measuring is not skew.
No, it doesn't measure skew at all.
And that's probably the most obnoxious and confusing part of it, because skew tells you, like, if you have a normal distribution, is it skewed more to the left or the right? So is it skewed more bear or bull?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it's measuring. What it's measuring is essentially the slope of the IV curve far away from the money. So really far in the money and really far out of the money. What do these slopes look like? Or I guess really far out of the money for puts and calls. What does the slope look like? And so a high skew means those slopes are high, which means that, so what it's really measuring is kurtosis, or
Mhm.
how fat the tails are. So how much people expect large moves. Doesn't necessarily tell you by itself which direction people are expecting the move. You need more information to do that, but I'm about to give you the more information. So it's measuring that slope. So you can actually increase skew without the market actually anticipating a larger move in the tails. They actually might just anticipate a short vol near the money, right? So if you bring the center down, the slope will increase, even if the tails don't go up.
Yeah. So if you sell
So
more options, sell more puts at spot, skew goes up.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So if you sell more puts at spot, skew will go up. So skew going up could mean that people are shorting vol at the money, which we all know is happening
Yeah.
and has been happening for a long time. So it could be indicating that that is ramping up. I don't really think that's the case. I don't think it's getting worse. I mean, it's still high, but I don't think it's getting worse. And so it must be that the tails are going up on IV. Okay, so which tails are going up? I think if you look at the options chain, it's all on the call side. So everybody's just getting super euphoric and just anticipating this massive run, all on the call side. So that's what skew is telling us, that people are bullish as fuck.
Yeah. It also,
So
I mean, it also means that they're selling the put tail for nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Like
mean, I think the put tail doing a lot less than the call side right now.
that's generally the assumption I make about skew being at elevated levels, is that people are selling tails for dirt cheap in size.
Well, they can only be selling one tail, right? Because the slope has to be
Yeah.
large.
So I mean, the assumption would be that they're selling the put side of that tail in
Well,
size.
yeah, I mean, we have data, our macro data that we're
Yeah.
gonna release hopefully soon to our beta users will show that it's all ridiculously on the call side.
Huh.
So everybody's oh sweet. Okay. Yeah, so everybody is all in on calls, ready to plow. Super bullish.
I got my Wada hundreds. I got my Magnum condoms. I'm ready to plow.
There's a like probability analysis of skew that's kind of accurate, and it's that like it's a sliding scale, but the more skew goes up, the higher the chances of like a 2 or 3 standard deviation correction. And I think skew at like 165 is something like a 5% chance of a 3 standard deviation 30-day return.
Oh, harder, Daddy.
Nice.
I mean, it kind of makes sense though, right? Because I don't know. It could be indicative of a paradigm shift, right? This time is different, right?
It's a
Are
new
we heading
normal.
into You're right? Are we heading into a regime where the market just goes up at a 45-degree angle no matter what? That's the question. And the thing, once that gets challenged, right? Let's just say Nvidia has a crappy quarter, everyone's risk model's got to change, and that's when you see skew start to come back down, right?
Well,
And that's where you see those multi-sigma events happen. And it happened to the upside, ironically enough, on a Nvidia earnings.
mm-hmm.
Remember that?
I do.
Yeah, back in I think it was 2023. The market went up like 2.4% or something crazy like that off of Nvidia earnings,
Mm-hmm.
which is a larger move than a lot of CPI reports, even in 2022 and 2021, right? Like it was just an extremely outsized move where everybody, had to price in a fuck ton of upside risk.
Your own pal, we're all stuck in the mess you made.
Unironically, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt too perfect. I had to do it. That's the last one, I promise.
That was the right one for that moment.
Yeah, no, it's kind of true. I mean, what's the real rate at now? Hold on, let me find it because I need to actually do. So let's see, we're gonna do GDP growth, right? Because that's the better one to
I'm
do.
gonna stop you right there. Nobody knows what the real rate is. It's not a thing.
I do. I'm smarter than everybody, Jay Fresh. Let me see. Where is it? The overnight rate. That's what we'll do.
Hey, Gorp, wind down. Well, I have a bunch of puts for December OPEX, so I'm hoping sometime before then.
Yeah, I kind of think it's gonna happen. I mean, everybody's. I've definitely noticed a shift in like even people who've been really bullish have been like, okay, now I need to start shifting to protecting what I have.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to happen sometime after OPEX, either December or Jan OPEX, when all these calls that are super deep in the money expire.
All those calls are sold.
I don't know about that.
Mm. They were sold when they went in the money.
One second.
I'm 2 days into tuning, and I'm 3 ages behind all my friends.
Go like this.
What's going on?
I am just looking for the Fed funds rate on Fred, which is apparently fucking impossible to find.
You want like the overnight rate or
There we go.
just
Federal
like
funds effective rate. That
Oh,
should be
okay.
what I use.
Yeah.
So let's see. We are going to go C minus A.
Well, then remember the neutral rate is 2%.
You're a neutral rate.
Thanks. I don't know if I could keep it up that long, but I appreciate it.
Well, while we're waiting for Dork to calculate something that he can't because nobody knows it.
Yeah.
I have it right here.
What do you think the odds are they're gonna cut?
I think pretty low.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, they can go ahead and do it. It's fine, right? I mean, gun it, right? Just fucking, who cares? Who cares if there's any, spread between real rates and the Fed funds rate? Just let the bond market figure it out.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? Saying just let banks fucking take the risk on and lend and see what the fuck happens.
Hmm. It's not.
Not wrong.
What's the worst that happens? Yields go up to fucking 8% at the top end.
Yeah, financial crisis and
Yeah.
millions of job losses.
And massive wealth destruction.
For the poor people, of course.
Well, also the rich people.
No, that's gonna no. They hit the
Mm.
undo button on that one. Okay.
No, if if rates go up to 8%, rich people are going to lose a lot of money, Dork.
No, you see,
They're going to go up to 8%. They're going to go to 0.
yeah, that's what I'm
okay.
saying. Is if they go to 8%, they're going straight to 0. And you underestimate, you sorely underestimate the ability of the federal government, the people who are doing the insider trading, to protect their interests.
So just enough time for JP Morgan to roll their equity holdings over to bonds and then cut rates to 0. What if they cut rates to 0 and then the rates just keep going up?
That's what will happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
JPM already rolled their equities over at 8%, and then it goes to 9 and 10, 11, 12.
Well, that's called a sovereign debt crisis.
We should buy. We don't own enough Bitcoin.
Fuck.
Right.
You know what? You know what we should be buying? Yen. We don't own enough yen.
We should be buying Fartcoin. That's
So,
the new big
maybe
one.
maybe Satoshis are actually yen.
Well, you know, I've heard of this new thing called Hawk 2-onomics that's being implemented with the Hawk 2 coin. That's totally not a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
It's been the funniest thing to me is people are upset that they like lost their money buying Hawk 2 coin.
Who's upset? I haven't met anybody who's actually lost money on it.
I
Well, it's
mean,
because we're talking like the lower 33rd percentile of Americans who did that, and you probably don't associate with those people.
I try not to. Wait, Aviv's in the Discord bought some Hawk 2 coin.
Yeah, did he make money?
I don't know. He either got sniped or he didn't.
Come on, Avivs, I know you're listening. Let's hear it.
Hawk 2 coin is a real thing. Well, not so much anymore, but it was
Well,
for
it's a
like a day.
cryptocurrency, so no, yeah, it's not real.
It's
but
not
it was-
actually. Yeah, it's not real.
But it was a wealth transfer from really idiotic poor people to that girl
You know what was
and a few
amazing?
other people.
it wasn't even that girl. It was there's people who like made it for her and like propositioned her to make the coin. So they made most of it. I don't know how much she made.
I bet she made half of it.
You guys,
But
you
she
guys,
basically just ruined her reputation. I mean, nobody's gonna want to listen to her anymore.
You'd be surprised what people
Really?
do when you
I
steal
thought
their money.
people-
Some people like you more.
I thought people loved con artists.
They
Yeah.
do.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm assuming rational.
Yeah,
behavior.
now she's just switched her interaction from like, oh my god, everyone loves this girl because she's just so zippy, to rage bait, which
Yeah.
drives far more interaction.
That's true.
And
I've been getting lots of
like
interaction.
now her simps can like
baiting
double
people.
down on pissing people off on the internet, and then those people will be twice as infuriated because they think she's a con artist. Yeah, I mean it's the perfect recipe for just
I think
even
she's
more
a-
fame.
She's a useful idiot, not a con artist.
Yeah, I don't think she knew what the fuck was going on at all. She's just like some girl from Tennessee. She doesn't know about like implementing bullshit on Ethereum blockchains and robbing people of fees. Somebody was like, "Hey, slap your name on this. We're gonna go do this thing with it." And she was probably like, "Okay, we'll pay you money."
Yeah, no. They're
Yeah.
the people who track the blockchain, like, and like watch, like, so you can correlate all the wallets and shit to like,
Yeah,
you know, all that. And they were talking about it, and it was like, you know, you basically gave the public a little bit of the coins, and then everybody who was like an insider, pretty much literally all of them, just dumped their shit right there.
yeah.
And they also charged exorbitant fees to buy and sell it, and so they also made like $1 million on that. It's crazy.
It's just so crazy because it's like everyone's upset. It's like, oh, they didn't initiate the project right. Like the you know, my cum coin is different because it's a project and it's gonna go on for a long time, and you know they're working on it, and it's like, what are you talking about? It's called cum coin. What project?
Right? Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's like, yeah, the mission statement of some of these coins is so fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
It's not like
right?
it's not like a bunch of like you know, Google engineers like found this really neat secret that's gonna like revolutionize something, so they drop out and start a small business and call it Cum Rocket.
Right. But JFresh, you just need to understand cum rocketonomics, okay?
Yeah, you're just not well versed enough in the crypto space.
You
You need to spend years studying MSTR before you become a man.
Allow me to parrot JFresh's comments whenever he talks about Bitcoin. 1, you're a retard. You need to spend way more time researching Bitcoin, even though you've probably spent more time researching Bitcoin than they have.
It's like a initiation.
It's terrible, dude. I read some of those comments, dude. Like they're so brainless, and like it's just purely bots. They're just like basically saying say something hateful and offensive.
Sailor
You know,
says we
that's
should get rid
all
of
they are.
gold. Yeah, because if we don't, his leverage is going to get blown up. He's buying
The Sailor's
billions
a
of
fucking
Bitcoin
idiot,
at
dude.
$100,000 a coin. He did this last time Bitcoin ran too. He's not an idiot. He's cashing out his shares for money. He doesn't care about who gets left with the bag.
Dude,
He's a genius. Everybody who buys his bullshit is an idiot.
like I'm surprised the SEC has not gotten involved in all this craziness. Yeah, I guess they only get involved.
When does the
once people
SEC get
truly
involved when people leverage something worthless for something worth something?
Oh, you know what, Girk? They get involved once all the poors have already had all their money stolen.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah, when it starts to hit the rich people.
Yeah.
No, it's when the stock goes straight to like when it goes all the way to zero, right? Like by the time Enron started getting investigated, I think they were already down like 88% or
Well,
something.
it's when the rich people get hurt, right? Because GameStop was the one time that they cared that a stock went up.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
It's like, whoa, these poor people just got too rich too fast.
Yeah, we actually got to be careful with Gamma Strike, guys. If we're not careful, poor people might get rich too quick, and then we'll get investigated by the SEC.
Oh my god. You're gonna do like
There's not going to be any SEC in 4 years. They'll just put RFK in charge of it.
you sound like an AI company, right? We have to do it responsibly so we don't destroy the world with our technology.
I
Well, I just don't
mean,
want to get investigated.
I love that
For no
marketing
reason.
approach.
Yeah,
He's got the right idea,
true.
but I would never give away that much alpha.
I know. So I don't have to worry about it too much, Kirk. It seems like people are having some pretty good results with it recently, though. Now that they've started testing it and implementing some stuff, it's been cool to see to see the things people are talking about, and they're actually like their acumen is solid now, which is really cool.
I saw a few people were doing pretty well with the meatball, which needs
Yeah.
refined, but it's okay. Me and Nuke are working on it while you guys play around with Fred.
That's not the only thing we're playing around with. All right, we're also playing around with our
each other's dicks. Yeah,
yeah,
I assumed.
Dutch rudder. You know.
Are you guys in
Not
the Are you
Dutch
guys
rudder.
in the same coding environment yet? So you can
Yeah.
masturbate each other in the metaverse.
Yes.
So yeah, we
Perfect.
actually are.
We're
All right,
gonna
Jay
need
Fresh
to,
is
we're gonna
in.
need to expense some of those weird man milking machines.
Denied.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let Carl know that he can just send that money directly to me.
I don't know. I enjoy the meatball. I think it's for what it is. I mean, it's short and sweet to the point. I mean, it's really just a decent scanner.
Yeah.
I
can't handle the shilling of our product right now.
Yeah,
It's
me
killing me.
either. I can't do shilling right now. It's Sunday. I want to shill it, but I don't.
It's just a way to look at stocks that are doing fun things and see if their options are fun.
Yeah.
Everything's still like Gamma Max, so
It's true.
I'm looking forward to the meatball. Shill achieved. Well, we convinced Jen.
There we go. That's all we need.
Yep.
Just need like 12,000 gens and we're good.
It's okay. It's gonna be totally self-sustaining.
how many librarians are in the United States?
Probably about 12,000.
Perfect.
100% retention rate among librarians. That's our banner. All right.
What's our TAM?
Right.
Oh shit, Jen has more than that.
That's not.
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
for how much longer?
That's a huge untapped market.
Oh, they're getting tapped.
The skew discussion is interesting. I put skew and SPX chart up together, and I'm happy to report I have no idea how they correlate, and I'm pretty sure they don't at all.
Okay, do
I
skew
mean,
and do skew and VIX.
Yeah.
the whole purpose of the skew was an attempt to try to measure like how much people are expecting a black swan type event or a rare event. And
Well, I think it
they're
was to measure how unprepared people were for a Black Swan event.
yeah, it kind of does that, yeah. It's not a very good indicator of the thing they wanted it to indicate for the
Not at
reasons
all.
that I kind of described. It can move for a variety of different reasons.
Although their white paper makes a lot of recommendations for how to hedge the skew index,
Oh boy.
which no one does.
Yeah, buy our product. Trade more of our products.
Guys, did you know that you could use our other products to trade the products that you're already trading?
Wait. I have a perfect analogy. Have you guys seen Portlandia?
Yeah, a little bit.
There's the one episode where they're like, "We can pickle that." It's
That's
basically that. but
That's
with
literally
financial product.
CBOE's business model.
We can pickle that.
Wait, hold on. People will buy that shit, and then they immediately make a product.
Yeah.
It's like SPX zero DTEs.
Oh yeah.
A local librarian here in Haley, Idaho, is straight out of Hilda. Huh. I don't know what that means.
Means she wants a Gamma Strike subscription.
Dope.
Yeah, 146,500 in 2023. Dude, I already see our target demographic coming to shape.
Yep, we just need to let the librarian community know how much more money they could be losing in the market.
Right. Gen doesn't want him in here, but I kind of want to overrule Gen's wishes on this because
Wait, why
I have
does
a
he
feeling
want them in here?
probably because they're librarians.
Yeah, it's like she's the librarian of the. She's the official pickle jar librarian. She doesn't want to get replaced.
Special anymore?
Yeah,
Gen, you're special.
and then, I mean, we're not inviting any of them to do only librarians.
No,
That's true.
that
So
would be chaos.
yeah,
I'm just looking at like how much we were talking about Sailor buying all this Bitcoin. I'm looking at how much money's flowing into the ETFs. Given like how much an insane amount of money is flowing into ETFs plus Sailor buying, it's amazing that the price is just not really doing much.
that's because everyone else is selling.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the miners are selling too. I found
Yeah.
this chart. I posted this late last night too. Like over the last like week or two, the miners have just been dumping everything. They're going ham. So they're cashing in hard. And they thank you for your donation.
VIX, cash VIX. Skew is 30-day. Just look at like VIX. Don't look at VX front month.
Yeah, look at VX front butt.
No, just look at VIX. VIX to skew. Or VXX to skew, whichever one you want. The volatility of volatility. Me and Dork used to be so into VXX, and we just haven't talked about it in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Dork, I want you to know that I'm still into VXX.
Are you?
Yeah,
Why?
that's awesome.
I mean,
The
yeah,
thing about
but
VXX is it tells you what the demand is for VIX, and VIX is just kind of meh.
It's true.
I mean, I guess if like all the levered stuff are using it, it would be more interesting, but I don't think they are.
VXX?
VIX.
No. I
That's
mean,
optional.
they use cash VIX.
I don't know.
All the leverage shit uses cash VIX spot.
So they have to use options then, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe, yeah, VXX might be important. I don't know. Has it done anything useful lately?
You can look at it.
I mean, if you price Bitcoin in VIXs, Bitcoin is worth 8,000 VIXs.
What is that in Zepto Satoshis?
8 quadrillion, no, 8 quintillion Satoshis.
I don't know. There's probably more Zepto Satoshis than there are planets in our solar system or in our whatever. What the fuck is in between a solar system and a universe, a galaxy? Big brain
That
today.
thing.
All right, what we got here.
Why is this on here? Oh, no. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
That's interesting. I went to a trip to Oahu last week and had a lengthy conversation with my cab driver about selling puts on MSTR the last few months. Signal? No. Right? That's. Maybe you guys are just now in the same economic class.
Exactly.
Oh god. Well,
I
what
didn't
else
know
is
they
there to
still had
talk
cab
about?
drivers. We can make our predictions for this week.
We could. You know what mine is.
Yeah, yours is already done for the year.
I'm just gonna say flat, honestly.
He also had a few Bitcoin. Why is he still driving a cab?
Because he has to hodl and he can't use it for anything.
Oh shit! Yeah, you can't spend Bitcoin to buy stuff. Did you see Warren Buffett's like speech on Bitcoin
Yeah.
from the 2024 Berkshire shareholder meeting?
That's fucking savage.
It was so awesome.
He's like half falling asleep. He's like in the process of just
He's
slowly
just like trying to explain to a room full of idiots why Bitcoin is worthless, and he's 98. And it's, you know what? I fucking love that guy. I
It
do.
was so great. He's just like, yeah, because if you try to sell me 1% of all the farmland in the country, I'm gonna buy it.
No, I'll write you a check right now. 25 billion. Here you go.
Yeah, he's like, if you try to sell me 1% of all the, condos or whatever apartments in the country,
Rental
I'll buy it.
units. Yeah.
Yeah, 25 billion, whatever the number is, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
'Cause I can expect a return later, right? But if you
If you want to sell me the entirety of Bitcoin for $25, I don't want it.
it's just like, what are you gonna do with it? The only thing you can do with it is sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
And it's
And he said, if I own all the Bitcoin, who's gonna want to buy it from me?
yeah.
Which is the most accurate representation of the current Bitcoin market.
But this is why I talk about Zeptosats. There's more Zeptosats than there are grains of sand on like 100 million Earths.
Mm.
Because BTC isn't limited; it's unlimited because it's nothing. You can delineate
Oh
it
wait,
as
hold on,
paradox.
JFresh. You can't take away their scarcity. They don't have anything else.
you can denominate it in whatever you want, and it still does the same thing. Nothing.
So you're telling me if I take my one Bitcoin and I split it into 500 million pieces,
It still accomplishes the
worth the
same
same as
thing.
the
it's still a worthless pile of shit?
Yeah, no, your Zeptotoshi is the same value as your entire Bitcoin.
Yeah, zero.
This is why I can't attract people to the stream, because I don't say bullish things about Bitcoin in the video.
I mean, the video's been like flat for I feel like a month.
Do you guys want to sell Gamma Strike? Then come up with a Bitcoin bull case. A valid Bitcoin bull case that doesn't involve
okay.
selling it to another
Intelligence is-
moron for more money.
Intelligence is only going to go down. There you go.
People are buying more options on it.
At least you guys are bullish on AI, though.
I mean, I'm bullish on AI, just not the current iteration of AI, which is bullshit.
Yeah. God, we suck. We're so depressing.
Yeah, we are.
We should be more fun. Like,
Here's-
just fun and fancy free.
I think we're just unabashedly cynical, and that's the problem.
Here's how you sell our service with something bullish on Bitcoin.
We don't have
2 weeks
Bitcoin on our
ago-
service.
2 weeks ago, options on Bitcoin had a delta of like 1.5 billion. And it's just been going straight up, and it's now at like 3.5 billion. You should just keep buying Bitcoin until that number stops going up.
It's like less than the options on Microsoft.
Yeah, people are actually
I don't know. Microsoft's usually pretty low. Meta
I mean,
and
what am I-
Nvidia. Tesla.
Microsoft 35 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still small, but it's growing, and as long as it's growing, it's gonna go up.
When do we get the cash settled index options for BTC? Because I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
sell those to people.
I don't care about those, Greg. I care about the BTC settled options on BTC.
Well, those don't exist. Why would you want BTC for your BTC option?
Because then it would show at least some sort of.
Then
like-
you've spent real money to buy something that gives you something worthless.
That's correct.
No one's
Yes.
gonna sign up for that.
I mean, you very drastically underestimate the stupidity of degenerates who use leverage to gamble.
I don't know. I can't see any funds using that. That's why the CBOE index options for BTC are going to be cash settled in US dollars and not settled in BTC.
Yeah, because nobody wants that shit.
Yeah, because you could buy shit with cash settled, like cash. You can't buy anything with Bitcoin. How are you supposed to? Have you ever tried to pay a hooker or buy blow with a Bitcoin? Actually, hold on. You can buy blow with Bitcoins. Hookers are harder.
I mean, you can buy anything illegal and illicit with Bitcoin because that's the only way to exchange the money in a way that the government can't track it.
So,
Oh, they can track it.
you're gonna love it. I had a guy who gave me a hypothetical. It was like, if you go to dinner and you have to tip your waiter, do you think your waiter would rather be tipped in BTC or yen? And I said, this is a ridiculous question. They don't want either of those things. They want whatever currency they can pay their rent with. And they probably just want to dip the tip of their penis in your iced tea.
That's accurate.
Like, what kind of psychopath tries to give some poor asshole who's waiting on you at a restaurant yen or BTC?
Be like, hold on, I'm gonna give you some of these, and they're gonna appreciate.
Yeah, they're just gonna call the cops.
That's
You
like the
have to-
old man that gives you like a. I remember there was this dude who used to come in the bar I worked at in college, and he would tip me in Susan B. Anthony silver dollars. And I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? He's like, hold on to it. I'm like, I don't want to hold on to it. I want to blow all the money I make tonight, after I get out of work.
Yeah, but yeah.
Silver, by the way, at the time was at like all-time lows. So he was just trying to offload his shitty silver on me. And I assume every other service worker he came into contact with.
What was I gonna say? I forgot. Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, he also drank Negronis, which
Yeah.
tells you everything you need to know about him.
Even I'm not that lowbrow.
Yeah.
Well, should we do predictions?
We could. I was wrong this week, but so was Dork. We were all just
Yeah.
wrong. I'm not giving
I mean,
anybody the win.
I said hit Gamma Max and go down, and it hit Gamma Max and just stayed there.
Yeah.
Who was closest?
It didn't hit
I
Gamma
think you were.
Max. It never came anywhere near
Oh,
Gamma
I
Max.
thought it did.
No. It went above Vega neutral.
Who was closest?
Oh,
I was really good in the first part of the week and then just completely wrong about the second half.
Hold on, who was closest?
I
I think
mean,
you were.
I think, no. Dork is.
Am I?
Yeah. I mean, you're like, let's define close. You're like fucking 100 bips, 130 bips off the closing price.
Where's Joe Fresh's line?
He's more 147, and I'm
there's his line.
173.
I can't believe I won. The least wrong.
Just so wrong though.
Okay, well, you can just draw a flat line this week.
My sloppy Joe is all sloppy and no joke.
Ugh, I hate that. What's that from?
It's Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Oh,
Yeah, just give me that straight shit, just like that.
oh God, what
Please
have I
be
done?
flat. Oh no! You know what? Actually, just wherever that ends up terminating at, go ahead and put it there.
No. You're gonna get your appropriate flat line. There we go.
Yeah, just like that. Just the world's shittiest doji.
All right, J Fresh, you're up.
My line's already there, Bo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just fucking just end a year. I'm just gonna take mine and move it over.
There we go.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. There we go. Like that. Cool.
You're expecting some sort of data to matter? Look
No.
at you. You're so naive.
Wait, is there data? I didn't even know there was data this week. Hold on.
I
This
think there's some
changes.
data.
This changes everything.
I think there's a little bit of data.
I'll believe you.
Wait, auctions, red book.
That's not data.
You're non-data. Unit labor costs. Ooh, yeah, we have inflation.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, that's fine. Wednesday. Hold on, I gotta move this.
Yes, Wednesday. Or no, yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday morning inflation. And then Thursday, PP in the eye. And then Friday, just some export shit. Yeah, we got a fair bit of data this week, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
I like this.
I still think flat.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think the data doesn't matter. I think all that matters is everybody continues to sell calls and puts at the same time.
Wait, hold on. Let me turn JFresh's line back on, so we can all see his direct path down to 5,900 by end of year.
The further all along we go, like the crazier that prediction's going to become as we move up. All right.
You think we're gonna keep moving up, huh? That's interesting.
Into what?
You're interesting. There we go. All right, got the quant dot plot screenshotted. Let's get this to the pores.
You're poor.
I'd much prefer just to go straight down all week.
Well, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna change it. Fuck the high.
God
Tired-
damn it, I just posted it, Girk.
I'm tired of this bullshit. Haha.
Believe it.
Motherfucker. All right, literally 1984. Hold on. All right. Get this thing screenshotted.
Bulgurk's the other one. Bulgurk Vega neutral end of week. Here, I'll give it to you there. It's
You
this
don't
line.
get both. You have to pick one.
Well, I did. Bulgurk. I'm not Bulgurk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not including Bull Gurk in this chart because I've already done this twice, and I don't get paid enough for this shit.
We need a tax loss harvesting mini crash. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention we'd be gone Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's when the crash is going to happen.
Oh, so my prediction is perfect.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It'd be cool if we hit gamma neutral this week. I'd like that a lot.
Oh my god.
Just the weekly one. I'm not greedy. I do have a lot of 60, 70, and 75 puts for OPEX though. I'm kind of like that money in my hands.
Fair.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's all so bullish. Everything is so bullish.
Which everything just looks flat. Like the entire end of last week was just trading in a $5 range.
I'm just saying, like, there's so much delta everywhere.
Yeah, but it's all underneath us.
Yeah.
Which means if price goes down, it goes down hard and fast.
I agree.
People don't take profits, Kirk. That's crazy.
Well, they do. Generally at the most bullish part, and then they buy the dip.
Mm.
And then we go back up again.
All right.
I think it's going to be an interesting week.
I might, if CPI comes in hot, it'll be interesting because bonds are starting to.
Oh, Nuke says I
Just
gotta wrap
one-
this up. He has goodies for me.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Do you guys want
Let's go see the
to?
goodies.
Yeah. Do you guys want to stay in here?
Yeah, we'll just stay in here. Fucking end the stream. Fuck these guys. Let's go check some shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
All right. Later. All right, guys. I'll see you later. If you have any questions, hit me up on the Discord. I'll have Pickles picks out probably in the morning. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Later.